US President Donald Trump, as I mentioned earlier, has followed through on his threat to freeze funding to the World Health Organization. He says the WHO has failed the US and the world by mishandling the coronavirus pandemic. The US is the WHO's largest donor, giving it more than $400 million a year, 10 times more than China. But no more for now.
Today I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there.
Good on him. I'm hardly going to disagree with the US President when I've been highlighting the WHO's unforgivable behaviour for a couple of months or more on this program. Here's a snippet from early March. When Australia was early out of the blocks to ban travel directly from China, there were two entities quick to criticise. One was the World Health Organization at the UN, which had a swipe saying it was unnecessary and would cause fear and stigma. And more predictably, perhaps, the Chinese Communist regime objected to the bans, citing the World Health Organization statements and suggesting Australia was giving in to unfounded fears. Yes, as I and others have highlighted, this organisation has behaved disgracefully. The WHO has opposed travel bans, been slow to declare the pandemic, and generally bent over backwards to support and praise Beijing rather than inform, alert and protect the world. That's what Donald Trump means when he says everyone knows what's going on here. It's the WHO kowtowing to China rather than protecting global health.
The decision of other major countries to keep travel open was one of the great tragedies and missed opportunities from the early days. The WHO's attack on travel restrictions put political correctness above life-saving measures.
We'll never know how much difference all of this would have or could have made. And of course, Trump is looking for a distraction from his own early mishandling of the virus, looking for someone else to blame. But there's no doubt the WHO has failed, and Trump's unambiguous condemnation shows global leadership. He'll draw a lot of fire, but he's right. Now, back in Australia, the government says we'll stick with the WHO. Our contributions are measured in the tens of millions of dollars. But the Treasurer says we reserve the right to criticise the organisation, particularly over its failure to condemn Chinese wet markets.
It's unbelievable. It's extraordinary that the World Health Organization sees it fit for these wet markets to continue in China. They shouldn't. I mean, they've been the source of outbreaks that have killed people around the world.
Fair enough. These markets where all kinds of wildlife is slaughtered in front of customers, mixed up with all kinds of other animals and meats, are blamed for many viruses, the place where they cross from animals to humans. So for all kinds of reasons, most people would support closing these markets down. They're cruel, ugly and dangerous. And already it seems the WHO is looking to change its stance on these. But regardless of that, we will get outbreaks of diseases and new mutations of viruses here and there forever and a day. So the critical factor is how we respond when this occurs, how organisations like the WHO react, and how countries like China share the information, tell us about outbreaks, instead of arresting, silencing and suppressing any medicos or officials trying to alert people. That's the real problem here, and it's been brilliantly highlighted by Tim Blair today in the Daily Telegraph. He took an article that was submitted by the Chinese consulate and applied some of the editing, redacting and censorship techniques that Beijing's communist regime might use itself. So, after Blair's censorship, it reads like this: China should be held responsible for the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. These claims are convincing. Is China to blame for the original sin, the outbreak? The answer is known. Wuhan, Hubei province, that's where the virus originated. The common enemy of mankind is World Health Organization. China, take the blame. and so on it goes. Just brilliant work by Tim Blair. He'll join me later in the show. And no, he's not expecting to holiday in China anytime soon.